So I wanted to know how many people who are watching this video know about the assemblage point. I first learned about the assemblage point in 2010 in Egypt. I went to learn a course called Luxor Light there, and I had never heard of it before. I'd been doing Reiki for about 3 years by then, and most people, so I've been doing it since 2010, balancing the assemblage point, and most people that I have spoken to who do other energy healing techniques don't seem to know about the assemblage point. So I just wanted to jump on and share my experience of it, and because this is a technique that I use in every single one of my treatments. So the assemblage point is a scientific fact that everything that is made of energy oscillates around a central point. And ours, hey Tani, and ours is called a assemblage point. So the assemblage point should sit, it's like the epicenter of our whole energy field. And if it's in the right place, then it should sit for men directly out from the center of the chest. For women, it's slightly above it. So it's between the heart and the thymus chakras. That's where it should be. Most of the time, hey Noel, most of the time I don't find it in the right position. Generally, I find it sitting way above the head. Hey Michelle, how you going? Most of the time I find it sitting way above the head, and that is in the area of excess mental energy. So depending on where I find it, I get various symptoms, or the person that I'm finding it, locating it on, has various symptoms depending on where I find it. Because of the nature of the 24/7 switched on world that we live in, I usually find it sitting directly kind of tracking in line from the central column up past the head, right up the crown. Today, I just did a treatment on someone, and hers was 3 to 4 meters away from where it should be. So that's the area of excess mental energy, just overthinking, can't switch off, just, thinking too much stuff, stressy head, that kind of thing. And hers have been out for 7 years, 9 months, 2 weeks and 1 day. So I check how long it's been out for. And often, or about 50% of the time, people will they'll say, oh, I know exactly what threw it out. And then about 50% of people will have to think about it for the next day to figure out what it was that knocked it out. Now, the kinds of things that can knock it out are accidents, illness, injury, prolonged stress, shock, trauma. I've seen everything from relationship breakup, moving house, moving country, car accidents, being a first responder to some horrible trauma, or something that just shocks you out of your energy field. So you could be gardening and see a snake, for example. It also depends on the person's resilience levels. Hey, Jane. So there's multiple different things that can knock out your assemblage point. And when it's been out for a really long time, your whole energy field then is spinning around the wrong location. So you can balance your energy field, the rest of your energy field, like your chakras, all you want. But if your central point of your energy field, your assemblage point, is still sitting in the wrong place, then essentially you're still wonky, So other examples of places where I found it, if it's below your hips, this is kind of like a danger zone, right? So if it's below your hips, particularly if it's down by your feet, that's a really, really long way away from where it should be. And that's very, very low physical and low mental energy. So I'll find it down there in people who have things like chronic fatigue, depression, things like bipolar. The assemblage point will oscillate kind of between a low location and a high location, depending on whether people are depressed or manic. With schizophrenia, it's kind of fragmented and like splintered. The autism spectrum is generally very much out to the left. So depending on whether for example, I did a session on a male who had quite severe autism, and his was right out to the left. And then I did a session on his mum, and hers was kind of slightly out to the left, but not very far. She didn't have any obvious signs, but she was probably on the Asperger's spectrum. Sorry, it's called spectrum disorder now, isn't it? And then when people are really angry, it will be way out to the right. around kind of up past your right shoulder, diagonally out from your heart. That will be the area of stress, anxiety, manic panic stress, as I said already. And then out to past your left shoulder, that will be hallucinations, delusions, apathy, fantasy. But in people where that's not clinically coming out in symptoms, it's more daydreaming, I find. So if people are very much in their head all the time, very much just daydreaming, then I'll find it in that location. So in my mind, from the over 16 years of doing treatments, when I learned this technique, hey Ryan, when I learned this technique, for me, this is the most important part of people's energy fields. You know, you can learn about chakras, you can balance chakras, you can clear entities, you can do all that stuff. But if the central point of your energy field is still in the wrong location, then your entire energy field is spinning around the wrong location. And you'll still get symptoms based on that. So I found one of my students, I did a session on her, and I found hers had been out for, it was something like over 37 years. And I was thinking, as I was kind of timelining it, I was thinking, I didn't actually think that she was older than that. And it turned out she was, I think, 2 months old when that got knocked out, and that's when she was taken away from her family who were abusing her and put in foster care to be abused some more. I worked on a guy who used to be a fireman, and his had been out for, it was something like 37 years as well, or around there. And as soon as I mentioned the time to him, he's like, that's when I attended an accident on Indian Coast Drive, or Indian Coast Drive up from here. And I had to, there was a car accident. I had to cut a dead baby out of the car. And he knew that he'd never been the same again. So that is one of the key signs. If your assemblage point has been out for a really long time and doesn't make its own way back in, you just will feel like you just have never felt the same since a particular thing happened. And no matter what you do, you find it really difficult to get back to the person that you used to be. And, you know, for a lot of us, you'll get diagnosed with depression, anxiety, get medicated, it will get seen as a midlife crisis or whatever, but you just never will have felt the same again. That is a classic sign that your assemblage point is out. So I will always check in every session with someone, in every healing, whether it's in person or distant healing, I'll always check people's assemblage point. I'll always bring it back into alignment. If you're interested in knowing more about my treatments and you would like to book in for a session, then comment heal below. Hey Noel, thanks for the interesting. Enjoy your flight. So if you want to learn how to do this technique, I teach this in my workshop, Advanced Healing Techniques. If you're interested in learning it, then comment workshop below. And if you just want more information about the assemblage point and what it is, there's a couple of really amazing websites that I have loads of information on. These are places that they literally, their whole job is checking for and readjusting people's assemblage points. And they talk about people walking in all lackluster and all kind of almost, you know, in depression mode. And when they leave, their eyes are sparkling, they're walking straight up, and literally just readjusting the assemblage point can do so much for people. So if you want more information just about that, then drop the comment info below and I'll send it to you. All right. Hope that was informative. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop a comment below. Share this with people that you think might be interested in it, or tag them in this post. And I look forward to speaking to you soon. See you guys. Have a great day.